Hi everyone, and welcome back to my How to Do Nonograms video series. In this video I introduce you to strategy number 4, which is very useful. If you are doing these at home, look for the nonogram labeled strategy 4-1. If you'd like to know how you can print these out at home and complete them as we go, look in the description for the link. So strategy number 4, for lack of a better name, I just call it clues plus blanks. To use this strategy, first you have to know the size of your nonogram. This, of course, is a 5 by 5. Look at the first row. We have 2 clues of 2. All you have to do is some simple math to figure out if you can use strategy number 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Now we know we need a blank box between each set, so you need to add 1 for each blank box. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. And since the number of boxes in our row is 5, we can use it. Look, there's only one possible way you can fill in a row of 5 when the 2 clues are 2. You have to put 2 here. This has to be an empty box, so you'll put a dot there. And these 2 have to be filled in. That's the only way you can do 2 and 2 when your row is 5 boxes long. So of course, this row is going to be the same thing. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. This box, this box, this box, and this box are filled in. This one is empty. We could go ahead and do the same thing for the columns that have 2s for clues. 1, 2, empty, 1, 2. Fill these in as well. And we've already made big progress on this puzzle now. Look at this column. We have 3 single clues. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And then you need to add 1 for each of these blanks. So 3 plus 2 is 5. There's only one way you can fill this out. It's going to be this box, empty, this box, empty. This box is going to be the same. Put dots in these boxes. This box will be filled in. And there's a couple ways we could solve these last 3. You could continue to do clues plus blanks here. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 5. We only have 1 box left, though we could have just gone ahead and done that. And we know this box has to be filled in for the same reason. And that leaves us with our center box. And we need 3 consecutive boxes, so we know it's going to be 1, 2, and 3. And our nonogram is finished. So in this particular nonogram, without knowing the clues plus blank strategy, we would not have been able to finish this nonogram. Let's look at another nonogram that uses strategy number 4. Alright, so let's look at practice number 7 nonogram. If you're doing this at home, that's the name of this nonogram. Adding up the numbers in each row or column plus 1 for the blanks. If it equals 5, we'll know how to fill in the row or column. So we start with the first row. 2 plus 2 plus 1 for the blank is 5. This is the only way we can fill in this row. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is only 3. We cannot use this strategy for the second row. Definitely can't use it for the third row. The fourth row, same as the first, right? So there we go. And the last row is the same as the second, so we can't use it in the last row. But we did figure out 2 rows. Let's look at the columns. The first column, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, but even though we can't use strategy 4, we can figure out that this column is done, right? We've got our first box, we have our second box, which means that these boxes are not going to be filled in. So go ahead and put dots in those if you're doing this at home. The second column, it's 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5, so we can figure it out. We need the first 2, the middle one is not filled in, and then the last 2 are filled in. Third column, we need 1, don't know what to do there yet. Fourth column is just like the second column. We know it's going to go 1, 2, blank, 1, 2. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. The fifth column is just like the first column. First box is filled in, the fourth box is filled in, which means these are not. We just filled in a whole bunch of boxes. Let's see if we can finish it though. So we go back. We don't need to work on the first row, that's done. The second row needs 2 single boxes, which we've done. So we just need to eliminate the middle box. We know it shouldn't be filled in. And if we look at the next row, we see we only have one choice. There's only one box left, so it's filled in. The fourth row is done. The fifth row already has the two single boxes. So when we put a dot in this last box, we know this nonogram is done. Once again, clues plus blanks, strategy number 4, saved us here. Let's go ahead and look at another nonogram to practice strategy number 4. This time it is practice number 8 on your sheets at home. And let's see what we got here. It's another 5 by 5. I always use strategy 1 first if I can, and there's a 5 clue, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have one in this row as well. There's not much else we can do yet based on the clues we have, unless we use strategy 4. Okay, start with row 1. We know 3 of these are going to be filled in, but it could be the first 3, the last 3, or the middle 3. You can't tell yet. Let's go to the second row. 1, 1, 1. We know from our last puzzle that when you have these 3 ones for a clue on a 5 by 5, we know it's going to be 1 plus the blank plus 1 plus the blank plus 1. We know 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 blanks is 5. So that helps us figure out that row. And it's going to be the same here. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 5. And we get to the last row, which is like the first. We don't know where the 3 are going to go. So let's go to the columns now. We need 3 in a row, and we have that. So this column is done. Great. Let's move on. 1, 1, and 1 again. We know how that's going to go. Filled in, empty, filled in, empty, filled in. Same thing in this column. So we're going to fill that one in and that one in. Last column, we need 3 in a row, which we have. So we need to put dots in these last 2 boxes. And that finishes our nonogram. Another little geometric design. We're going to do one last nonogram to wrap up our discussion of strategy number 4. For our last nonogram, where we talk about strategy number 4, why don't you try to solve this on your own without my help? In a second, when you see the message on the screen, pause the video and see if you can solve the whole thing. Then I'll talk you through it and we'll see if we got the same answer. All right, let's take a look at this 5 by 5 nonogram. Strategy number 1, as always, I use first. We have a 5 in this column. We have a 5 in this column. To use strategy 4, 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5, which means the only way to fill out this row would look like this. We've seen this combination before. We know it's going to look like this. This one again. This one again. And this one again. We didn't even have to look at the columns. Just doing the rows made it pretty simple. So there again, using clues plus blanks, adding up the numbers of the clues in a row or column, plus 1 for every blank. If it equals the number of boxes in the rows or columns, you know there will only be one possible way to fill it in. I hope you learned a little bit by watching this video. If you enjoyed it or learned something or thought it was cool, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, I would appreciate it, and you'll make sure you won't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.